I have two stories that sort of revolve in the same orbit. Obama, Bernie Sanders, and Joe Biden's goals are not that different. No shit. From the Federalist, boys and girls, former President Barack Hussein Obama said the agendas of his former Vice President Joe Biden and self-proclaimed socialist, no, he's a socialist. There's no self-proclamation due to that. Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders are no different from a bird's eye view. Of course not. Quoting from Obama, if you look at Joe Biden's goals and Bernie Sanders' goals, they're not that different from a 40,000 foot level, one over the world. They both want to make sure everybody has health care, but how do you pay for it, knuckle nuts? They want to make sure everybody can get a job that pays a living wage. What does that mean? I know living wage, duh, but that's not. What defines a living wage? Is it $30,000 a year, $40,000 a year, $100,000 a year, $100 an hour? Which is it? See, they never parse that. They never narrow that down for you to understand. They want to make sure every child gets a good education. Well, who doesn't? But how do you do it? That's the important question. The distinction between the two, Obama argued, is the tactics each uses to get the same finish line. Although the tactics are also becoming increasingly similar. Yes, a socialist tactic is, well, it depends. Violent revolution or a slow march to it. I think we already know where that's going. It says a lot of times the issue has to do with how do you go about and what are coalitions we need. What I think the moment has done is to change some of those calculations, not because necessarily Joe's changed, but because circumstances have changed. Top down, bottom up, inside out. Is that what you're talking about? Obama's honesty comes just as Democrats wrapped up their online convention last week. During it, they nominated the farthest left ticket in American history. And that's saying something. I thought Obama was far left. Oh, I was wrong. The party's vice presidential picks, Democratic Senator Kamala, whatever, heels in the air, Harris has been rated as enacting the second most liberal voting record in the upper chamber. Sanders has also lauded Biden's leftward lurch following the Unity Task Force's agreement between the other two presidential campaigns. Sanders openly celebrated that, if elected, Biden would be the most progressive president since FDR. And by the way, boys and girls out there, FDR, the same president that imprisoned Japanese Americans in internment camps without due process. Imagine that. Even farther left than FDR, we're going to get the same goddamn thing. Mark my words. If, God forbid, Joe, where the fuck am I at? Biden is elected. Biden has already declared his support for a $10 trillion in new programs, even though the nation faces the largest federal deficits and debt in world history. That's one of the topics I need to delve into, the federal debt. But I digress. While Obama offered pointed criticism of his presidential successor at the online DNC last week, the former president was also quoted earlier this month in Politico telling one prominent Democrat to not underestimate Joe's ability to fuck things up, unquote. Now, this is the most important thing right here. The most progressive president since FDR. If Joe Biden is elected to office, and God forbid. So, that should tell you a lot right there. Where the far left, the Democrats, if you will, are heading towards to. They're not going towards the center, which normally, in normal times, that's what would happen. They're pushing farther, and farther left. These people are insane. And speaking of insane, this complete, unadulterated, windbag, vodka-soaked that we ever seen in Congress. I've said a lot of things. Obviously, I've said a lot of things. I don't like Democrats. Now, do I think they're evil people? Yes. Yes, I do. Do I think they're wrong for this country? Yes. Yes, I do. The issue is that I'm just a civilian out there. Normal dude, rolling around, in a different country right now. I'm not living in the States. I'm looking at this from outside. I'm looking through the window and going, dang, these Democrats are messed up. This is insane because as violent protests and riots break out, Democrat Nancy Pelosi labels Republicans as enemies of the state. The mask is off. I hold no bones about it. I think the liberals, the Democrats, are the enemies of the state. So who's right? I don't know. That's the interesting conundrum I find myself in. Usually, politicians don't necessarily label the other side evil. They say, well, they may be misguided. I may not like them, but, they have their opinions. We're far beyond that right now. What is interesting is they call us, people right of Pol Pot, Stalin, and Mao, enemies of the state. Okay. But you know what they haven't done? Think about this. What haven't they done to address these riots? Have they come out against them? No. They've actually supported the riots. Now, I know what you're going to say. Not all of that, Democrat. No. All of them. Just like they say to us, their silence is indeed violence. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi demonized Republicans during an MSNBC interview on Monday afternoon, calling them enemies of the state and domestic enemies. Pelosi's comments come as violent riots from left-wing, insane left-wing activists have plagued cities across the U.S. in recent months. And here she comes with the crap again. She says, "We take an oath to protect and defend the Constitution." Yeah, you do, but you don't really. "From all enemies, foreign and domestic, and sadly domestic enemies to our voting system and our honoring our Constitution are right at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, the White House, with their allies in the Congress of the United States." Isn't that interesting? So, if I think she's the enemy of the state, and she thinks, if she thinks I'm the enemy of the state, and I say she's the enemy of the state, then no one is, I guess. We just have a different opinion. Interestingly enough, she continues on. But again, let's get out there, mobilize and organize, like all good leftist socialists do, and not let the president deter anyone from voting, and again, support the postal system, which is election central. What is interesting here is that how is the postal system election central? Just like Dr. Birx and Dr. Fauci stated, we have to listen to the science, as they always say on the left. Okay. They said you can vote in person. Okay. But then again, why are they pushing this? Well, it's obvious why they're pushing this. It's because they don't want a free and fair election. They're leftists, after all. They'll do anything in their power to get into power. That should tell you a lot right there. You don't want a person who's running for office who demands power. You don't want to vote for a person like that. I don't see that in President Trump. I just see him just as a guy, understand that he has problems and issues. I get it. But do we really want to elect far leftists in there? As we already saw what President Obama said in that article, we want to elect these people in. Why? And here's interesting. Liberals always accuse you of the things they're doing themselves. As she says right here, they're doing everything they can, suppress the vote, with your actions, scare people, intimidate by saying law enforcement will be there, diminish the role of the postal system in all of this. I find this funny. And you can tell that they know, hopefully this happens, they know that they're on the losing side here. I'm sure they got some internal polls saying, we're doomed. With all this crap going on, they could easily say, you know what? Let's stop the riots. Let's get with the president, stop the riots. They don't want to do that. Because their ship is already on fire. The Democratic ship, if you will. And it's going towards the breakers. It's about to hit the rocks. But instead of turning it and putting the fire out on the boat, they said full steam ahead. That's what they're doing right now. Because I think they want to win, don't get me wrong. But I think they know that they're not going to win. So they're going insane. They're bringing out the postal system. The postal system's shot. It bleeds money every single year. The only thing that I care about the postal system is getting my Amazon crap, which I don't like buying from Amazon, but I don't have a goddamn choice. She continues on. She must have gotten really into the vodka here. It's really actually shameful, she added. Enemies of the state. Pelosi's comments comes as far-left rioters march through suburban neighborhoods with guillotines, burning American flags, intimidating people at restaurants, shining lights into people's homes, attacking police officers, attacking normal people, and making allegedly threatening remarks to people. Representative Steve Scalise, who was, by the way, in 2017, I think it was almost killed by a Bernie Sanders supporter, mind you. Disgusting Nancy Pelosi just called Republicans domestic enemies. I was shocked because of this kind of unhinged rhetoric. Where's the media outrage? It's rhetorical. They'll never say anything. Representative Brad Renstrept, Republican Ohio, responded to Scalise's tweeting, writing, "Now this puts lives in danger. Believe me, I know firsthand." And, at Steve Scalise, knows better than anyone. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy tweeted out the incident, writing, "In 2016, they called you deplorables. Now, Nancy Pelosi calls all Republicans domestic enemies. Never forget, they despise you. And the worst part is that they don't even try to hide it." Tell me where Kevin McCarthy is wrong here. Well, that's right, he's not. He's 100% correct. This is the 2020 version of the deplorables incident. They called you and myself, anybody who disagrees with the far left, enemies of the state. Republican Doug Collins, Republican Georgia, responded by saying her words are beneath the office of the speaker. She don't give a shit. And she should resign immediately. And she won't. Representative Rick Crawford, Republican Arkansas, looks like, Nancy is controlled by the far left. She is. She continues to say things that escalate division in this country, and now she says, labeling those who are different in political party enemies. Nancy, you once said our words should calm and unite.
I am the god of hellfire!
What changed? Oh, I know what changed. She wants power. One political commentator weighed in on Pelosi's remarks by saying, if you met this person in a Walmart, you'd grab your kid's hand and quickly walk down another aisle. Yeah, especially when you get that vodka-soaked twat here saying whatever. I should probably take back what I said, that the enemies of the state are on the far left. Well, I should, but I'm not going to. Why won't I do that? Well, let's look at it this way. Nancy Pelosi is a person that detests my existence, and I detest her existence. So I guess what I should say here is, unfortunately, right now, the United States is indeed in its second civil war. It's a soft civil war. There's not many uniformed soldiers on each side. But this is it. This is where we're at. Don't believe me? That's fine. Do your own homework. Also, just check out Kenosha, Wisconsin tonight and tell me that we're not in a second civil war.